Hello, this is Kirby Monster 2, and today I will be reviewing Sakura Wars 3 Is Paris Burning? I hope not. That's a very terrible thing to ask. Sakura Wars 3 was in development right after the success of Sakura Wars 2. During this, however, is when things were getting interesting as the Saturn was in its deathbed and the new Sega Dreamcast was on the horizon. Now, Red Company and Sega still wanted to continue on the series, but they found it a little bit hard with the new technology, so they waited a couple of years, and during this development, other OVAs, performances, and even the reimagining of the first two games were on the Sega Dreamcast. Because the series was going on a new platform, Oji Hiroi decided that the series would go in another place, and that being Paris. So him and his team decided to go to Paris to look at the sights and views that would ultimately be the setting for Ichiro Ogami to go to for this third game. And with all this passion coming from the team as they worked for hours and hours, how did the game go about? Was this game any good?
Sakura Wars 3 has Ichiro Ogami arriving in Paris. He's there to train a new army units to combat evil.
Oh, sorry guys. I must have put in Sakura Wars by mistake. Let me just,
Yes, that's right. The third game unfortunately has a similar plot as the first one. Eerily so that some of the characters feel copy and pasted. There's Erika, the lovable goofball, Glycine, the rich noble, and the happy-go-lucky, quote, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. At least they aren't all copy and pasted like the Japanese waifu of the day, Hanabi Kitaoji, and Master Thief, La Belia Carlini. But that doesn't really deter from the fact that the story has an evil group that is just being evil for being evil's sake and nothing else, and that there's a main villain that's controlling them for his own personal reasons. So overall, the story is just unoriginal and lazy. But despite that, I just hope that the gameplay is...
Why do I even bother?
Sakura Wars 3 is again focused on the split chapter system, with this time being 11 chapters. Each chapter is based on the newly designed visual novel parts, with a newly defined lip system and the new action points battle system. Roaming around the theater in previous games meant players could wander around without wasting time, just to get to the next part of the story. Walking around Paris, however, means that certain parts of the city, or the Châteaux Les Noirs, will have Ogami slow down just to see if he should be in that scenario. There are also moments when Ichiro gets a message from his portable Kimetron for messages. This was supposed to be a unique feature for the Dreamcast VMU, but mine has a sticker on it, so it always seems like Ichiro was zoning out.
Ichiro, are you okay? Do you need any help?
What I found interesting, however, is that there's a feature in that Ichiro can respond to certain scenarios with adjusting the intensity of his voice. Crank it up to mindlessly yell to the heavens or lower it down so much that the characters won't understand him at all and think Ichiro is a wimp. The problem with this, however, is that the bar can still go down after moving it up, so it's important to still do it as the timer ends. The game uses an action points combat system, and God, I just don't like this. It uses a bar that includes healing, moving, defending, charging, and attacking. Healing takes 90% of it, defending and charging takes 10% of it, and moving and attacking take as much as they can. Healing shouldn't have taken 90% because it just makes the game longer than it already is, and the walking range is the exact same for the characters. Even the teleporter of the group can't go for long distances. Oh right, the game is in 3D, so characters can jump to heights, but it wastes a good amount of movement space despite having to return to the original position. I shouldn't mention how horrible charging is, as it doesn't do much in a turn, and it just pads out the game's length. The bar is so badly implemented that it requires players to recharge just to do a death blow. This right here, this was just badly designed. Sakura Wars 3 was the first of the series to use actual 3D graphics. Hiroi was fascinated with the hardware capabilities of the Dreamcast. He worked hard on the 3D models that seemed revolutionary at the time, compared to what was 2D giving the illusion of 3D. Because of this, the Paris landscape seems a bit more detailed and scaled to the close quarters of the theater from the previous games. But in doing so made the place a maze in that several times I had to use a walkthrough. Despite the game having a lot of design problems, I did enjoy the new expressional CGI anime look. I was also fond of the designs for the new characters. The enemy bosses as well stand out, as they have some goofy and cartoony characteristics to them compared to the previous ones. However, while I did admire the Art Nouveau inspired cutscenes for the next chapters, the game's presentation struggles with now outdated graphics. The opening theme at least has some charm to it, with its orchestral composition. The cabaret theme I just think is some instruments dying, and that the piano is just having a hard time getting the rhythm. Other than that, there's nothing else to say, as most of the music is forgettable. As for the voice actors, well, you guessed right. Anime, 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 anime. The dialogue is good too, as it reflects on the overall conflicting personality of each character since they are forming into a unit for the first time. It makes them more relatable, despite some of them being copy and pasted. This does a better job at introducing characters than what the first game tried to do.
Sakura Wars 3 is not one of the worst games I've ever played, but yeah. Now, Red Company and Sega decided to make a fourth game for the Sega Dreamcast, but I have a terrible feeling of what that's going to be like. I hope I'm wrong, but I am very worried about this series going on, as the Sega Dreamcast was going to its final second year, as it wasn't selling that well, so this would unfortunately impact the series onward. I hope that the fourth one isn't that bad, but oh yeah, the review for that is coming soon, so see ya.